Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. What you see on screen is another slide that I've pulled up, and these seem to be the 3 steps that T-Mobile is going to use to further extend their network leadership. And I know extending and maintaining the network leadership is always going to be debatable. For in the comments on Reddit, anywhere you have this conversation, it's always going to be debatable. No matter how you look at it, it's just simply going to be debatable. But the 3 steps, right? I guess maintaining the best spectrum and network assets, that would be the first step. Purpose built for customers using the AI tools and those hexagons that T-Mobile showed us at the Capital Markets Day that tell them and give them insight as to why the customer is potentially leaving. And if it's because of a poor network experience, then they know that they need to immediately fix it for that specific area. And then the technology leadership, 5G advanced, whatever else the 3GPP releases next, T-Mobile is going to be at the forefront, and they should be. But a few other things that Ulf, who's in charge of the network, recently disclosed and talked about. Something, right? We know they've had the head start. They started this in April of 2020, and they've had a head start, right? Not necessarily on the 5G piece, because they've been deploying that since like 2018. When they started the 600 megahertz deployment, T-Mobile deployed that with a dual band radio. But the mid-band, they started the mid-band in April 2020, and they've been deploying it ever since. But something that Ulf mentioned, just something as simple as continuing to deploy mid-band on more sites can extend their leadership. So that's a pretty good position to be in, to say that you can further extend your leadership by deploying more 2.5 on sites. So you had a head start. You've already they've probably touched all their sites in some way, shape, or form. There's probably some sites out there that still are LTE, but those have been touched, right? They've been modernized to some extent over the years. So yeah, those will probably still need 5G, but there's still sites out there that they've added that don't have mid-band. Terrell recently told me, Mobile Master Tech, for those of you who check out his channel, I'll leave a link to it in the description. He told me of 3 new permits that were filed in his county that are sites that had low-band 5G that are getting mid-band. So that's another way for T-Mobile to further extend their leadership, just continuing to deploy 2.5, right? Scale, scale, scale. It's all about scale. And then the 3 steps that are listed on this slide, that's going to help, right? Maintaining the best spectrum and network assets. I mean, we're going to see how they participate, how aggressively they participate in future auctions. If 3.1 becomes available, are they going to go big on it? And if any other asset becomes available, are they going to go big, right? And then another perspective to look at it, how big is T-Mobile going to go to further make 2.5 more contiguous? It's fragmented. There's still other education boards where they can get more 2.5. Is that essentially the goal, right? That might be a good question to ask at an analyst day or an earnings call. You know, just ask, hey, how aggressive are you guys? Or, you know, just overall period, are you guys looking to try and get 194 megahertz of 2.5 in every county? Is that the goal, right? Can you potentially get that across 80% of the counties where you have the license? Is that a possibility? Is that something that you're looking into, right? And that could give us a very simple answer, right? It doesn't have to lead to a non-answer or a deflection or something where they're like, you know what, we can't answer that. That should be something that they can openly talk about, right? They might not for the purpose of the competition, right? competitively. But it just makes sense, right? It makes sense to ask that. But while there's no spectrum in the pipeline currently, are you looking to further buy more of the 2.5? They've been doing it, right? Auction 108. They've been quietly buying it from other companies, right? There's another big one. I think it's called Next Wave, I think, out of New York, where they could maybe possibly strike a deal of some sort. So it's all a possibility. It's not out of question. So I would definitely ask that to the T-Mobile executive team if I got to ask them a question the next go around. And I might just do that because I think that's sitting on a lot of people's minds about the 2.5 and how fragmented it is across the country. So if they can get that contiguous, I think in many cases it's better than deploying C-band or having it, period. I'll be very honest. If there's an area where it's fragmented, right, and you can only deploy 120 or 140 megahertz, if you'd have to give up the C-band to get the entire 194 megahertz, I mean, you do it. It's more cost efficient. You don't have to deploy another panel. You don't have to go on the site again. You just add the software and boom, there's 190 megahertz, 100 megahertz in one channel, 90 on the other. Right? That sounds more simple than it is, right? They have to actually negotiate and do the talks and be willing, but it would be nice to know publicly that they are well on their way of doing so. Maybe that's a question for the next call coming up at the end of the month that I'll ask, right? We've asked the cable questions. We got some answers, but not really a direct answer. But that would be another way for them to maintain their leadership with the best spectrum assets, right? To make 2.5 as contiguous as possible across the country. That would be big. That would essentially give them a higher average of a mid-band versus Verizon if they can get it contiguous across the country. But you see, those are the 3 steps. They can fund the network. With the 9 to 10 billion, it's allowed them to do all the stuff they've done. Maintain a lower churn, grow the company, grow FWA to 12 million customers. So it must be enough. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, I anticipate Verizon to spend on just wireless about between 11 to 13 billion. That's where I think Verizon sits on wireless spend. The rest, I mean, they have overseas operations. They have Fios that they have to invest CapEx in. And in the future, that'll be a Frontier. So not all of their CapEx is going to wireless. So T-Mobile being at 9 to 10, I think they're in a good position where they're at. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.